Bow with Windmill Crossing. Mr. Jones?
Mayor, we have Mary Petty here. We also have Dustin with Beaton Bow. And Mary's going to come up and basically, we have got, hopefully, this development agreement to, it looks like that I'm going to be able to live with it, but ultimately, this is y'all's decision. And so she's going to come up and go over it with us and do a few other things, and then maybe we can get this underway.
Okay.
And we may or may not need to go back into executive session,
Okay.
but we put it on there just to be safe.
So you have the floor, man. Just introduce yourself for the record, and you have the floor. Can everybody, excuse me, can everybody hear me?
No,
Can you hear me?
It sounds like it's turned off, but it's
It's
on.
on,
I see
it's
the
on,
lights
yeah.
on. Oh, yeah, it's on.
It's on? Okay. I just want to make sure that it gets caught on the recording. Sorry, excuse me. Go ahead. That's why I'm leaving the floor.
Mary Petty. Third time's a charm. P3 Works, we're consultants to the cities as it relates to public improvement districts. And so previously, we were here last week to discuss specifics relative to a Beaton Bow project in which the developer is requesting a public improvement district. There are a couple of different types of public improvement districts. The specific one this developer is seeking is an operation and maintenance district to maintain parks and recreational open space in a development that has already been annexed into the city. And so due to a series of events, we're looking at a development agreement, a draft which Dan has, in which it outlines several components relative to the development, open space, some park components, as well as text dot right-of-way reservations, the use of roadway impact fees, which would be on roads that are eligible under 395.023 for reimbursement. But the biggest outstanding item seems to be the parks, if they're acceptable to the council, as the developer presented last week, and then how the maintenance of that park and recreational open space is going to be deployed. So as you know, a public improvement district is a independent boundary. It is not a separate political subdivision. It simply is a boundary in which assessments are collected in order to pay for the operation and maintenance of public improvements within that district. So those public improvements would be specifically identified in a petition submitted by the landowner, which is the developer, and that would be specific to the operation and maintenance of the parks, the infrastructure in the parks that will be paid for by the developer, and then the maintenance of those open space components and the park as well. So the developer's recommending some parameters relative to how large of an assessment would be on there from an annual basis. The developers also made some suggestions relative to who maintains it and who pays for it early on while there's not enough homes in place. And so we can work through all of those details in compliance with 372, which is the PID statute. And I've had that discussion with the developer and their attorney as well, just making sure they understand the mechanics. So happy to answer questions, but I think the largest outstanding item is the council comfortable with the parks as they were presented last week? And then are you all comfortable with a public improvement district being created that would be revenues collected from only the people that live within that boundary, which is the Beaton Bow project called Windmill Crossing, thank you. And that would pay for that public infrastructure. So we can have a conversation, dialogue, I can answer question, but we're looking for direction relative to what we need to continue to include in the development agreement so that it's in compliance with your direction.
Ultimately, though, council, she's absolutely right. Do you like the parks that were presented last week by Beaton Bow? Can you live with those parks?
Council, yeah, want to have a discussion on that?
And Mr. Egglestone's here as well if you want to question him.
Okay.
How many were there that you had on, how many parks did you have scattered out throughout that property?
There was two plus or minus half acre parks along the basin, and then there was a series of pocket parks, 1, 2, 3, 4, I believe.
Okay, thank you. I just couldn't recall the number. I know I saw several green spots here.
Yes, sir. If it's helpful, I actually may still have that presentation if you'd like me to pull it up just so we could confirm.
Yeah, that would be great.
Let me see
That's
what I've got.
I'm looking forward here to see what I have.
I'm a visual learner.
Do that a bit more.
I was running off the password hint, but hopefully someone else does.
It's listed on the bottom.
And Mayor, you do have the option after this, if you'd like to go into executive session, if that's what council, that's why we've got it on there.
Okay. There's that damn bull again. I love it. Hook 'em.
We have a Wall Street in Odessa, Texas. The Bull.
An award-winning bull.
Someone's got to win the award.
Somebody. I don't know what JD Power is, but.
It's the only award a Longhorn won this year.
Hey, but it's something. Hey, we just won the national title in track.
In track. Here we go.
We went further in basketball.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, this is the visual that was presented last week, and so we are reflecting 2 large basin parks along the basin, and then 3 pocket parks. In aggregate, plus or minus 2.5 acres is about where we're at the moment. The majority of that being on the west side, which we plan to develop initially.
Okay. What are your thoughts on it? What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I'm still, I guess I'll have to say something. I'm still having a very hard time with the drainage basin in the middle. I just, that's bothered me because I think we're gonna wake up one day, it's just gonna be an eyesore. And we've got enough of those in different parts of the city. It's like, I don't know what to do about it. I'm just at a lot, I'm personally at a loss. I've looked at every option that I can think of, and without the city spending a lot of money doing it, it's just, and I can't believe it's gonna help you sell homes. If I was buying a home there and saw that, what's gonna be there? That caliche, that's it. Oh, whatever pops up, whatever, wind blows and whatever seeds roll in here, and when it rains, it'll be something down there.
The manner in which we've developed in the past, has not been any maintenance vehicle in place for anything from parks, common areas, or a basin. The PID, as structured, can capture that maintenance of the basin if required and planned for in the budget along the way. My guess is that would primarily be trash pickup, and so I view the PID actually as a solution to the problem proposed. Otherwise, there is no maintenance vehicle in the community, and really just no trigger for anyone to go out there and maintain it.
That's the problem. Therein lies the problem to me.
Right. And that's why part of why we're proposing the PID for that solution. If we're out there, if we're still
But it doesn't
developing,
address that drainage area. That's the
So
problem.
what you're saying is in the PID agreement, we could potentially add some language to that saying that some of this could be maintained, some of that drainage basin could be maintained in this PID agreement.
we could.
Where you-
And Mary, I don't know if you want to expand on that, but that's the way that we've structured in the past. as you can incorporate common areas, or we've had experience incorporating common areas into that.
Okay, so, so do we have a visual of how many parks, did we get that answered?
Yes, it's gonna be 5.
Okay, so everybody's refreshed on what that was?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Thompson, is your question relative to the basin, the city accepting it as is, as opposed to improved and then maintained?
That is correct.
Okay, so your question is not simply who's going to maintain it, it is
What's going to be
perhaps,
done with it?
perhaps we're okay with the maintenance, but we're not okay with it just being dedicated to the city in its current state. If it was improved upon, potentially there could be a conversation there.
Yes, yes, ma'am, because if it's just left as dirt in West Texas, it's gonna look like hell. And that's what we're trying to get away from, not to. And I keep asking the question, and I haven't got a satisfactory answer yet, so.
Okay, so your question's not a matter of maintenance, your question is a matter of what does it start life as being maintained? Okay, I just wanted to clarify.
I'm glad that discussion came up. I visualize maybe landscaping. I don't know how much area that basin is, footage-wise or whatever. Xeriscaping it, maybe, graveling it and putting out desert plants in it, just to give it some beauty rather than just let the natural mesquite bushes.
49 acres.
Oh, it's 49
Yeah,
acres.
it's a large area.
Okay.
It's a rather significant basin.
Oh, okay.
It drains, it's part of the drainage system beyond this parcel of land, and it is rather significant. And as I discussed before, what we're able to candidly spend out here on improvements is a function of how many homes are in the neighborhood. Because at the end of the day, we're seeking this balancing act between really creating value for the homeowners, meaning what we provide is appropriate for, in this case, 1,150 to 1,200 homes and those families. Because we are very cognizant of, yes, providing them amenities that they will utilize, but also making sure that they can still afford the homes and then the recurring maintenance in the form of the PID assessments. And so we are seeking this balancing act. If there's some other level of collaboration on what that could look like, I'd be happy to explore those conversations. But with the size and scope of that basin, we are limited as to what we can do. The intent has been to leave it as native.
But see, therein lies my problem. Native out here is tumbleweeds and mesquite bushes and dirt and caliche.
Lots of dirt.
And that's what we're trying to move away from. That's the reason we got involved with Beat and Bow to start with, was because of the total PID concept. So I'm just going back to square one on a bus ride from here to Lubbock, and what we saw and what we're not seeing on this project. Because that's, unfortunately, we're not like Lubbock, we don't have nice dirt. What we've got is caliche, rocks, mesquite bushes, and tumbleweeds.
When that dirt flies.
And that dirt flies. And those homeowners are not gonna be happy, and it's a problem for me.
Have y'all done any of your past projects, have y'all done anything with the basin like this to improve it, just so it won't be an eyesore, like Councilman was saying, just some xeriscaping, some very minimal maintenance?
We've done, I would say, some mowing as far as improving xeriscaping, et cetera. To my knowledge, we have not done that. We have two basins in or near existing communities. One was dedicated to the city by a prior developer. That is at 87th and Evans, right behind that relatively new gas station. Then there was another one within North Park. This was a legacy community from many years ago. I believe that Beanbo Homes is actually the owner of that today. We have done some mowing as required, but it's not regularly scheduled.
Okay, so, any other questions on this? Okay, we're gonna move on to item 4. Item 4 is an executive session and authorized by the Texas Government Code, section 551.071, to consult consultation with attorney, city council may adjourn to executive session. 2, discuss the manner in which the duty of attorney, governmental body under the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the state of Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with the chapter and city attorney with the consultants hired by the city of Odessa. So, do I have a motion for item 4?
So moved.
I have a motion by Councilmember Swann. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Vasquez. All in favor indicating by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed indicating by saying nay. Motion passed unanimously. We are gonna go into executive session. We'll be back